Hello everyone, welcome back to RCH Builders. So today we're back down here again. These videos that I'm doing right now, I'm hoping to be able to maybe get some backlogs, but I still have no backlog on this house. So I'm trying to do this today, and I got to get this video edited for tomorrow. So I had a comment from somebody talking about like the older houses and how they're built and changes that have gone on with them. And I thought I might know the answer to their question they had, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I wanted to wait till I came down here and looked to ensure that I was correct. And it does seem like I'm correct on this item, but this right here, of course, at one point there was a door here that entered in. On a lot of these older mill homes, they would have got split into duplexes. So my guess is this door, quite possibly, is still an original door. Based off the way the fireplace was in here and everything, I wouldn't be surprised if this was an add-in to turn this into a duplex at some point. Maybe, maybe not. Not really entirely sure on that. Or it just may have been the original entrance. But the reason I don't really foresee that too much is because the way that it would have been split up, if that's the case. Not really sure on that entirely. But the question had to do with was over here in the kitchen. And they were wondering what the little framing was underneath the windows, and what I was thinking is it was probably an original standard sized window. And I do believe I'm correct. So we'll see. I'll show you why. There's a few telltale signs. One of them is these windows, even though they are wood windows, they do not match the rest of the house. So the rest of the house, if you look at it, it's got designs pretty similar to this. You got 6 panes over 6. That's in all of the windows, except for the smaller window that's in the bathroom, but it is still, and the bottom sash is missing. It's been broken and hauled off already. But it is a 4 over 4. Still around the same size panes. The only windows that are not are these ones and these ones. So if you remember from when we did the tear out, we had mentioned about the fact that this used to be a porch, and that's why this would have been the original wrapping of the beam for the porch. And that is why when they opened this up and they opened it up incorrectly, they had a whole issues with that framing and everything. Whenever they opened it up and tried to close it in as part of the kitchen, it became part of the kitchen. Whenever they did that, these studs on this wall and this wall are all built outward because they didn't add sheathing. They just did the siding. They wanted the siding to match up. So it's all back from where it needs to be. So all these studs need to come forward about 3/4 of an inch. The corner, because that would have been an original corner post that was put in at the time that the porch was, is most likely in the right place, or at least very close to it. I still may have to adjust it some, but I think from what I've seen, it's where it should be. So basically to remedy it, I'm going to have to rip off this board here. I'm going to have to remove at least this front section of the bottom trim board. I may leave it there the rest of the way because it's not an issue really structurally or nothing like that, but then move all the 2x4s forward. Anyways, with that, these windows, you notice they have a 3 pane on top and then it's open on the bottom. It's the same with these right here. So these windows were an add-in at the same time as they did that. And also another telltale sign is the balancers. So these weights are what they used for balancers back in the day. Nowadays, it's a much different style, but what it does is it helps balance the weight of the window with the glass, the wood, and everything. It's surprising how much these actually weigh that you don't notice unless you grab a hold of one of these and actually feel it as a solid hunk of metal. And it takes two of these, one on each side, to balance the weight of this window. That's what holds the window up when you open it, is these weights in here. Anyways, the way that these balancers are at a later point in time from when the original windows were, it's got a eye hook in a eye hole in the middle of it, and then they tie it off at the top. The original ones, for the original windows, the way these balancers are, it actually comes, the rope goes through the top of it and then ties off in a knot inside there. This is a much heavier weight. It's about 7 pounds, I believe. The ones over there are about 4. And that's because, of course, it's a bigger window. But either way, so that's another telltale sign that those windows, even though they are old, were made at a later point in time. And then the final thing that tells me I am 100% correct, and what I was wanting to look at. So in the video, all you could see was this lower portion, because I was focusing on the floor in that video. And you could see this cut out here. And he was wondering what that was. And based off just being out here in the house and just kind of looking around, but not really paying that much attention or really caring because I was worrying about other things, I was thinking this looked like it was the same size as this. The distance between the windows down here, the way the framing is at the bottom, you can see it better over here, right here for this window. And so what I was thinking is, it used to be a regular window that was in the rest of the house, the full drop down. So as we look over here again, with that in mind, if you look at the top, which you couldn't see in the video, you'll see there is an old header that only spans directly over the top of this. And then you can see the siding that's been put on there sideways instead of angled. So what this is this used to be just a standard window. And with it being just a standard window, when they wanted to add in this double over the new kitchen sink location, they had to modify it, which is technically not modified correctly because there is technically now no header above that window. In all feasibility, in the case of this here, that is not really a heavily structural wall. It is somewhat, especially because of the fact that all these ceiling joists have dropped, but the main structural walls are on the two ends, this way and this way. Those ones kind of have a whole lot less weight to them. But it is some, and you can see it has dropped over the fact that there is no true header there. Also, you can see the fact that there's a lot more space on this side than over here. They just left the original stud instead of framing in, and you can see where the boards that they cut back with, probably with a Sawzall or a skill saw over here, stick past that 2x4. Again, it's because these were added in after. Originally, more than likely because the way a lot of these houses were framed and built, the kitchen sink was probably on the wall that used to be right here. And this door was probably removed. It probably used to be in this wall going out onto the porch, and then the porch was open and you could just walk out that way. And whenever they modified this and changed this up, they just took this door and put it over there. Because that door does seem like it could be original. Not necessarily, because they still make doors very similar to that these days, and back then they quite possibly made it almost identical to the original doors. Anyways, that's just a little An answer to that and let y'all see a little bit more about the actual structural of the way this house has changed. But what we're here for today is to try to see what we can do about some more framing. What I'm going to probably do, I guess, is I may try to just go ahead and knock out getting this taken care of, because it'll be easier without these other walls in the way. So I'll probably set up back here where y'all can see, hopefully, and then I'll be working on that. Like I said, I'm going to remove the top piece. I'm going to cut or shear off. I might shear it off with a Wonder Barn and hammer. This lower one where it's back that way some, and then take the siding off and move all those 2x where they should be. I already put the bottom plate where it's supposed to be when I put that bottom plate, repaired that back underneath. So I just need to move the 2x. And once I do that, and around this side, hopefully there'll still be plenty of time. I'll try to sheathe this and where this window is, get those boarded up with some more of this subflooring that I have laying around here. That'll help get some more of that out the way. Gonna run the air hose through the dryer vent because I've always heard you want to use dry air in your guns. Of course, that's a joke. It's just a way to get it out here so that I can finish up this wall here. Last wall and on this stuff, and then I'll be fully closed up and in the dry on the areas that I have opened up. All right, so got that wall closed off. That's both of those. Made it a little bit darker in here, of course. We've removed 3 windows and a door that had a window in it. But it's still got plenty of light in here. And we will be adding other windows, larger windows than what's in here now, in different locations. I think one will go very similar to where this is, but maybe a little different. But other than that, I've got a mess in here. I have my dump trailer with me, but I need to get a bunch of sheetrock in the morning and stuff like that, so I can't really put all this stuff in there. But hopefully if I make it down here next week, then I'll be able to go ahead and fill up the dump trailer with all this trash. There's trash all over the place in here from this. I've got trash in there now, but what's in there pretty much maxes it out with being able to put any sheetrock in there. So I have no room, like I say, to put this stuff in there right now. If I had time to go to the landfill in the morning, I could probably throw it in there, go to the landfill, then go get sheetrock. But I am not going to have time for that with what I've got to do tomorrow. So with that being the case, like I say, hopefully next time I come down, frame some more walls. I don't know if you noticed when I went across through there, I did a T-post or H-post, depending on what you want to call it, at about 3 foot back this way from the corner. That is for where the wall will be going between the second bathroom. We're going to actually put 2 bathrooms in here. I believe the way that we've worked it out, it should work just fine. We'll have 2 bathrooms and there'll be a closet behind that bathroom. So that's what that T-post is for the wall that goes between those 2. The bedrooms will still be bigger than the ones at my own house, even with doing 2 baths. But it is only 2 beds. There's 3 in mine. They call it 4, but the 4th one is technically an old garage that is not level with the rest of the house. In real estate purposes, it would not be considered a 4th bedroom for resale value. So I may fix that eventually, but for now, it's technically 3. But it is it's a larger home, but the bedrooms are small in them. And I think the living room that will be in here will be about the same size as mine. And when we're done with it, I think the kitchen will be probably about the same size as mine as well. So overall, even though it's a small house, there's still plenty of room. But like I say, for this video, I'm going to call it quits here. Got some stuff to go take care of. But hope you've enjoyed watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you the next time.